Yes. Hello, our dear lovers of biohacking. And here we are back in our Bioratorium bathroom and producing a new event. It's called, it's number 7. The last one was Cannabipatorium, and now it's tuna fish, yeah. Tuna fish it's called, yeah. This time I'm going to hymenize myself, to inject myself with genomic DNA of the tuna, goldfin tuna, the yellowfin tuna. So it's called golden tuna. The event was supposed to happen on 19th of March, but because of the corona things and then lockdown, it was delayed until now, so I'm very glad to finally to realize that idea. As usually, I use my Frankenstein Kit. The DNA number 14 this way was prepared already of 19 because it sounds kind of sacral. It was used to be the Brussels Philharmonic Orchestra must play Symphonia Fantastica by Berlioz at the time when I'm doing injection, but unfortunately it didn't happen. So I don't know what's happened today. In the world, we are totally disconnected from all computers, and I expect something will fall from the sky or sink, like Titanic maybe. Because I'm going to connect myself with the kingdom of fish, the kingdom of Poseidon, using that tuna DNA. The tuna I got also during in the shop. It was not frozen tuna from supermarket. It's really high quality fresh tuna, and DNA is super quality. So I'm going to inject it, and it's going to enter some of cells of my body and stay there for some time until those cells live. I doubt that it's going to work, but it will be there. So technically, I'm becoming a human fish chimera. Partial chimera. First time in the human history. Okay, what we need? As usual, with all previous our things, we need a sterile syringe. And we need our DNA. It was kept at minus 20 for all these times. Opa. Oh, yes, it's quite a lot. Yeah. Let's make, as usual, some kind of spot for our golden tuna. And yes, now it's more difficult part because my sight is not that good anymore. No. You see, hands shaking. I will tell you in the second part why. It's because of those events with coronavirus. Let's make it second. Tuna is a little bit difficult. Let's do it. Oh yeah. It's going. Opa. Ooh. Yeah. That's it. The tuna went into the human body, first in human history, specially prepared tuna DNA, not just simple one. And with special chemicals mix that allows enter to the cells. And by very non-specific process, maybe from 1 million cells that gets the DNA in, maybe 10,000 or even 5,000 will accept the DNA in their genome and will keep it for some time alive and wondering what's going on. And I am in time will get a connection to the kingdom of fish, to the tuna, to the Poseidon himself, through that tuna bridge, to that messenger. And the second part of our talk is about coronavirus, because we are in the middle of the crisis. and I'm a kind of a professional specialist working in genetic engineering and enjoying, you can see in the third part of the talk something about those potatoes. It's genetically modified potatoes that I make. When that came, I'm actually not a virusologist, I'm just a genetic engineer. I looked in the genome and immediately found signs of work. I could do the same things. In my kind of constructions, DNA construction, there is plenty of such telltale signs of human interference. And in that coronavirus genome, I immediately found two pieces that tells me that it's artificial. They are synthesized and inserted there. And I will not go into technical details. It's about synonymous codons frequency divided by the length. So there's two pieces there, very important pieces. One is a receptor, and now another one is a foreign site that around those places, that enormous anomaly happens with that synonymous codons. And when I saw it, I would say yes. If I would do it, I would do it just the same way. It's a very, very understandable logic. And that fact that they didn't hide it, it was done in Wuhan, of course, tells me that it was not intentional. It was just sort of escape of virus from a lab. They didn't want to hide that fact that they interfere with the virus genome. I guess they were proud of it. And they make many, many more of them, and only one became that what we know now is a big disturbance of public order on the whole planet. Just by chance, not really on purpose. I don't blame those scientists for producing some kind of bioterroristic or biological weapons with intention to do it. It was vaccine research and quite obviously. Well, and the last part of our talk, I would like to pay attention on, for those interested on biohacking as a hobby, as a profession, science as a profession. And here you see my creature. It's a genetically modified tobacco. Yeah, it's a small one, but if it takes it out of the bottle, it will grow, it will be really big potatoes it will make. And a big plant, but somehow it can adjust, like a genie. In the bottle, it's a very small one. And the bottle is completely closed, there is no oxygen goes. So if you send it to the Mars, hello, Mars alone, they will grow there. All they need the light, and then, some warmth. Yes. -1, they will not grow. So those ones, what I'm talking about their Frankenstein book. I recommend that book to everyone, original one from Mary Shelley, who wants to understand the nature of science related to that unusual way to do science, like biohacking, like creating chimeras and enjoying it a lot. The Frankenstein is really wonderful book to read. It's not about movies. Movies doesn't give you even 10% of that book. The book is really about this tragedy of the scientist and his creature, who the Victor Frankenstein is a very tragical biohacker. The tragedy of science, and Vladimir Frankenstein, of course, it's a post-Frankenstein. It's a ironical scientist, but basically with the same attitude towards science and what we call now biohacking. In that time it was just normal science. He created creature that he cannot bring like, because he don't feel like that he can get that God, this fire of the God into that creature. So it will stay like an animal, between animal and humans. And I oppose it. I love all my creatures, whatever evil they are. I love them all. I don't mind to make them and enjoy their company. That's my difference with Victor Frankenstein. The tragedy becomes ironical comedy, tragic comedy in Chekhov's style. Well, I don't know what's going to be next. Some people say maybe you should inject bats' DNA, but then I was always thinking about it, but before coronavirus. But I was always hesitating it, because I know that bats' blood, where I'm going to produce DNA, it's like full of all kind of deadly viruses. And not like tuna fish. If I would do it, there is a really serious chance to get some very nasty virus into my body. And this one is not going to sit quietly in my cells, but it's going to work there. It's going to be activated. So that bad idea is postponed for some long times ago, long times in the future. Well, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. And if you have questions, you can always find me on Facebook. I'm Vladimir Khailgorodov, New Frankenstein, living from Brussels, of course, is love. Yeah. That's our Orium in Brussels. Frankenstein Kit you can get not from me, actually. I can explain you what is behind the Frankenstein Kit. It's just a Promega kit refurbished as a Frankenstein Kit. You can buy it directly from the company called Promega, but they don't market it as a Frankenstein. That's it what we have here. Yeah, as usual. Also can be genetically mutants, but very tasty. Oh, welcome back. I forget in my talk, because it's improvisation, I just forget to tell you about my personal story with coronavirus. I got that coronavirus on 6th of March, I guess, and went to the whole thing. But just a very mild symptomatics, no problem. But what I would like to say something that about coronavirus from my personal experience, that I experienced, that people mostly in the media not mention a lot. Apparently, they produced a problem with the lungs, and then I paid attention that I have mental changes. Like I'm forgetting things, or I'm sitting at work and cannot do anything. I know what to do, but I cannot do it. And that was really so strange that I started to pay attention. And then I realized that what I experience is actually psychedelic. And then how can possible the virus produce psychedelic effects on my brain? And then, of course, if it reduces the oxygenation capacity of lungs to saturate blood with oxygen, then the brain feels it, because the brain is very sensitive to the oxygen levels in our blood. And if the oxygen level goes below some level threshold, it activates all the systems to protect against low oxygen stress. Other way around, the neuron will die, they're very sensitive. And then those chemicals that brain produces to protect itself, they include oxytocin and DMT by pineal gland. And those things are well-known psychedelics, so that's how it works. But for the people who don't understand it, that strange state that virus induce can be very frightening. But for people who use psychedelics, that's just very strange, unusual side effects of the viral disease. It was really very funny when I realized it. And then, yes, it goes for a very long time. So I'm afraid that the change in the brain is quite permanent. It's not like in 1 week it's all gone. So I had that psychedelic experience for more than 1 month, and still it comes back in small waves. So it's like a very, very interesting effect of that virus that maybe will change humanity after all. Maybe transhumanists are right, and we are moving into a new stage of our existence. That's it. That's what I forget to say to you. Enjoy your virus. Don't be afraid of it. It will change your brain, your perception. If it's not changed already, of course. Yeah. For some people, there is no difference. Virus, not virus. Okay.
Okay. Coronavirus epidemic is going on, but I cannot stop with my Bioratorium event. They were planned long time before the virus, and unfortunately it was cancelled in Brussels, but it's still going on underground. So today I'm going to show you what's behind of the kitchen of Bioratorium, like how the DNA is actually prepared using the Frankenstein Kit, which is not really something unique. It's just the kit like this from StarTech, which is reshaped as a Frankenstein kit. There is nothing, I'm usually using this kit directly. I don't need the Frankenstein kit. But anyway, it's just the same thing, just for presentation. So today I'm going to, for that next Bioratorium event after cannabis, I'm going to use a tuna, golden tuna, yellowfin tuna, fish DNA for injection into my body. I hope that this will create some kind of portal, some kind of connection me with that mythical Greek golden tune, and I will get more knowledge in my life about what's going to happen to humanity in the next 10 years. So what we need to do for the kit first to take a small piece of that fresh sample, biosample, in this case it's tuna. We already have like many of them, but it's just I never was showing you how it was made. It was always like hidden somewhere. Now I'm showing you what's going on. Here we put a piece of our biosample. This time is golden tuna, and small piece really, not much. And we don't need a lot to make nowadays for our event. There's the two of them because of centrifuge. We need two tubes for one. There is no need to use for two. And that's it. The rest of the tuna will go to my kitchen in the evening after that. And I'm going to fry it with garlic and olive oil, and enjoy. Hope not the last supper. Yeah. So what we're going to happen next to that piece? I'm going to take a special liquid from that kit, a sample buffer that will release all the DNA out of it by cutting all the proteins there. That's with a protease called proteinase K, almost like my name. And add a hydrotropic salt. It's called the binding buffer. I'm using the self-made binding buffer, highly recommended by the way, for those who understand, made from this one. It's very rarely used, but I'm using this one. It's one of the very, very original old-timers buffers for those kits. And yes, so I apply that free DNA, like liberated DNA, to the column like this, with the binding membrane there. All kits have the same column. Actually, there is only one producer of them. And then just push it through and get all DNA bound, and everything else it goes down. And then I will wash it with a pure, extremely pure ethanol, really very pure one. Just normal vodka is not going to work. Or just ethanol from the shop is also not going to work. You need really very, very, very special pure ethanol. And then I will wash it 5 times, and that will make me clean DNA. Like with less pure ethanol, you can get much more dirty DNA than you need really to be safe when you inject it. And then dry it and add some saline for injections, also grade. It's a solution, it's a water with salt, kitchen salt, but it has a pharmaceutical grade for injections. So you just add a little bit there, wait, and then go through, and then you have all your DNA, which is unbound from the filter and gets into the solution. And that's one we have normally in previous videos I have done in my Frankenstein Kit. I was showing it's like this. It's basically transparent, slightly viscous liquid. That's how DNA looks like, also from tuna. And that's it. Well, welcome for our next Oratorium event, which was interrupted by that coronavirus. It was planned long time ago. It was supposed to be goldfish, and gold tuna, of course, came. Fortunately, the shop with the tuna was open. Everything is closed in the end now. Um, Next piece is going to be where I will inject the DNA prepared from those species into my body. And I hope to get some kind of connection with the golden tune. It's a kind of a half god, kind of creature of goddess type of thing, where I can actually ask directly the golden tune about the future of humanity. Thank you for attending. Okay, we are going to continue with our lesson of how to make DNA from anything live. So here we have our piece of tuna in the small tube, and the next step is to add binding and destruction buffer that will release DNA out of that biocell. I'm using the old-fashioned old-timer 6-square. So we need to let it there. I already make everything I just showing you. So we need to take like 1 ml of this one and add it here. And then a lot of water. Do shaking, all kinds of shaking, using automatic shaker also possible, like this one for 10 minutes. Then place it on 55 degrees, so give it a little more things to work, and this and this and this. And after like 20 minutes of constant working, you can also add some mechanical destruction process there, like this, and continue punching a lot. And then continue. I'm showing you the most easiest way to do it because there is plenty of ways for homogenization of the tissues. And this is just like most simple. But it takes a lot of time. There are machines that do it in 1 minute. Okay, so pushing it, then again turning the vortex thing, leaving, hitting, vortex thing, and then add glass bed. The glass bed, and then continue to vortex, to punch it, to shake it like this, and so on. So at some moment you will get, this is already done, yeah? That most of the sample is disintegrated and the liquid becomes very, very milky. So it contains proteins, membranes, all kinds of things from the sample, matrix, and also liberated DNA. But it's not really very well liberated, so we just take pipette and take out as much as possible. Most likely half you can recover after 10 minutes of heavy extraction process. You just directly from there, you try to recover as much as possible into separate tube. And then you will get like half ml of very milky, condensed, foggy liquid. And then we add extra binding buffer, sample buffer to it up to the top. So it's like 2 volumes extra. And yeah, just wait for half an hour, maybe even 1 hour, until the liquid will become not as transparent as possible. It's still going to be opalescent, but going to be really dissolved, and DNA will be in solution. The next step is centrifugation at 10,000 G to remove all the big pieces to the pellet. And after it, I will take clear supernatant and apply it for this column. This is DNA purification column. So I just put the clear supernatant, and when I centrifuge it, DNA will go, the sample will go through that filter, DNA will bind, and all the rest will go through. But there is, of course, there will be a lot of contamination stays there, so I need to wash it many times with ethanol, then dry it, add water, and elute it into collection tube, the different tube, not the same. That's how the DNA is done. And then in small volumes, like 200 microliters, 400, usually half an hour will go for the application. And then we need to add only to mix it with transfaction reagent, lipofectamine, and also maybe to add a bit of saline there to make it less painful, the injection. What is really I would like to pay attention is that this process actually producing the shaking with glass bags and so on, it's producing very damaged DNA. And for many applications, not a desirable thing, as they need DNA as native as possible. But for that one, when I want to integrate the DNA to some cells of my body to become chimeric, the destroying of DNA helps a lot, because our system, when the DNA gets inside the cell, because it's damaged, heavily damaged, it will activate the system of reparation that cannot differentiate between my human DNA or tuna DNA or whatever, any other DNA. It sees damaged DNA, it kicks in and starts to repair it. And that reparation process is connected with integration of the DNA into chromosomes of my body, of myself. That's how it works efficiently in the reality. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope somebody will try it, but it's on your own responsibility. I cannot promise you that it's safe. Okay, until next time. Here is a centrifuge, so we need 2 tubes to place for the balance. And here is our tube with our sample. And then the last one. Let's make it 10 minutes to clean all the non-dissolved substances, and start. 13,000 fermentations. Okay. Now it's completely, you see, after centrifugation for 10 minutes, the liquid is clean, and a very small white pellet is still present on the bottom of the tube, which we don't need. This is denatured protein mostly. Aggregates. So we need to transfer the transparent liquid with liberated DNA in it to our purification columns using pipette. Here we are after centrifugation. All liquid went through the filter, and DNA now sits on that white membrane. And the next steps is just repeat washing with wash buffer, which is actually ethanol with a little bit of salt, and then drying and then elution. That's it.